Welcome back to the Flow Sports Fix on this Thursday evening. Just a reminder, the Flow Sports Show back tomorrow evening from 4 till 7 with Jason Wayne. They'll be giving you all the local football and netball details and previews for the big games taking place right across the Flow region this weekend. But let's find out how things are going with local footy. We're heading to the River, I believe.
And firstly, we get to some Riverland football, and it was a really interesting set of games. Berry beat Loxton North in a bit of a surprise for some, 11-6-72 to 7-11-53. And gee, that puts Berry the second match of the year, which sort of saw them the first match against Waikerie, and we're sort of not really sure what we're going to get from Berry when in that match they were certainly cleaned up good and proper by a much better Waikerie side. North had the draw with Barmera Monash, so we thought there might be still a fair bit going on at North, that they could be really competitive, but looks like they ran out of legs in the last quarter when it was a 5-1 quarter, even though North had caught up after trailing at half-time to lead at three-quarter time by 1 goal. So well played there by Berry to get home. In other matches, Renmark 18-19, 127 beat Barmera Monash 2-3-15. If you don't mind, Barmera Monash certainly not performing there, and Zinnick with 4, Charlton with 3, and Wolford, Agostino and M. Wolford, that's T and M. Wolford, better players for Renmark. And Middleton, he's come back to the club, and gee, they'd be really disappointed. He's a top-line forward, kicked 2 goals, and Oman, M. Wilden, the better players for Barmera Monash, in a pretty ordinary performance from them. But the best performance we've saved for last, it was Loxton 13-7-85, beating Waikerie 9-10-64, and Loxton had gone out and recruited well this year, and they came to the party after they trailed Waikerie 5-1 at quarter time. A massive second quarter, they kicked 5-0. Then the third quarter, they kicked 5-1 to set up a 13-7-85 to 9-10-64 win. It was a 21-point margin in favour of the Tigers, who haven't beaten Waikerie in a long time, that's for sure. Best players for the Loxton club, it was Evans, Gutschke and Yeomans. Ben Yeomans, a real good player. Fisher also named. Spenceley with 3 for Waikerie, and L. Exton, H. Bigwood and Big Beaver Venning in the better players, and Romeo and Eagle and Pont all booted 2 goals for Loxton. They were impressive, and they have certainly changed their team and structure and look like a really solid performer this year after that. Solid performance, Ramco have done likewise, 7-11-53, beating Sedan Cambrai 4-10-34 in an independent match. It was a really low-scoring game. A dour performance by Ramco to get home, and the Sedan Cambrai side were premiers back in 2019, and this a very disappointing performance from the Black and Whiters. Paringa wasn't disappointing, kicked 24-20, 164 to beat Brownswell 2-2-14, while Wanka 12-10-82 to beat Blanchetown Swanreach 1-1-7. And a week is a long time in football, because Blanchetown Swanreach had that massive win the week before over Brownswell. How can you pick this? We had the Anthony Watch. We thought he was going to kick big bags, kick 16 goals in the first outing for Blanchetown Swanreach. He got the 1 goal that they did kick, but it was a great win by Wonka. And Jeffrey with 3 for them. Hampel, L. Hampel, M. Worsfold, both 2. And Hampel, Lawrence and D. Hampel, the better players. Starlenberg, Basji and Clark, the better players for the Redbacks in that game. Big surprise, though, that's for sure. And just the 3 games now played in independent football over the weekend. And finally, as we head down the river to River Murray, where it was a weekend without Tailem Bend, who've been dominating this year. They've won all 5 matches, but in the 7-team competition, they had the bye. So it was Jervois 19-6, 120 to beat Mypolonga 3-7-25. I don't reckon the Bloods would have beaten Mypolonga by that sort of a margin in a long time, so they were really celebrating at Fly Park in Jervois. Ramblers 16-14 over Meningie 8-8, so more pain for Meningie, and Ramblers getting themselves back into maybe some finals contention. Manham 14-10-94 to beat Imperials 11-7-73. That's probably the upset of the week, when I reckon Imps would have went into that game slightly favoured to beat Manham, but it wasn't to be. And when you look at the premiership table, it now has the guys from Tailem Ben on top with 5 wins from 5. They're 10 points. Jervois at 8 points with 4 and 1. It's Imperials with 3 and 2 and Manham 3 and 2, both looking likely. Ramblers are 2 and 3 with that 4 premiership points, and then Mypolonga just the 1 win from 5 games, and Meningie have had 6 games thus far. and haven't yet registered a win. But this weekend, it's going to be a rivals round because that we're looking at some terrific games of football. Jervois take on Tailem Ben. That for the top of the table clash at Tonka Park over at Tailem. So Jervois are going to have their work cut out to beat this high-flying Eagles side. And then Maipolonga play Manum, of course, near rivals in terms of geographic positioning, and Imperials play Ramblers in the Battle of the Bridge. The other match at Johnson Park. A good round of football ahead of us.
Thank you, Flowman, as we head to another river, the Golden Rivers.
Nullawil 24-19, 163, beat McCorner 7-3-45. This was an impressive win, but Nullawil have been probably the best in this comp this year. Farmer with 6 and Oberdorf for 4, Kelly 4, and Quigley and Humphreys the better players for the Maroons, and Stiles with a couple for McCorner, but well beaten on the day, the Tigers. The other matches, Mullameen, they're showing that they're going to be right up there this year because they've beaten Ultima. Probably haven't done that in a number of years. 14-18, 102 to Ultima, 11-17, 83. And for Mullameen, that is a good win for the Swans. Ultima are just dropping off the pace this year, and they'll be disappointed. O'Toole with a couple, Millwood with a couple, and Devereaux too, while Dwyer, Simons and Farrell are the better players for the blue and white. Silver, he was the best player on the ground, booted 9 goals, the difference between the two sides in that comp. And Hay 13-12-90 beat Maribor 11-9-75 and a good win for the Lions. Wandella 16-10, 106, too good for Quambatook 10-8-68. Quambatook have improved a little bit, but just off the pace there a bit against Wandella, who look like being a top 4 side already this season. Colac with 4 for Quambatook, and M. Bradbury their better player in row 5 for Wandella, and Ruston was their best player. Having a look down through the grades here, and in the reserve grade of Golden Rivers, we had some pretty good matches played, and it was a big one for Wandella, too good for Quambatook, 16-12 to nothing. And then it was a nice game between Nullawil and McCorner. McCorner got up and won it by 7 points, and while it was at Mullameen 12-7 to beat Ultima 6-5, and again, good home win by the Swans, and Maribor too good for Hay by 10 goals in their reserve match. While in the underage sides, the 17.5 group, we had a particularly good performance here by McCorner getting over Nullawil 8-8 to 6-4. Mullameen really good at this grade, 32-20 to beat Ultima, 1 straight kick in 7.5-year-old age football. Prentice 9 goals for Mullameen. While in the final match, Hay took on Maribor and beat them 15-9 to 9-4. No match between Wandella and Quambatook in that age group. While in the under-14s, it was no match between Wandella and Quambatook, but 8 goals, 7 to McCorner, beating Nullawil 1-1. Good win for Ultima, 6-12 to Mullameen 6-2. And then it was Maribor 10-4 beating Hay 7-4. So Hay, traditionally one of the top sides in this younger division, but this year maybe getting other sides are coming right up there to become more competitive. Let's head down south of Victoria, and we come up to the Colac and District Football League. Alvey were way too good for Otway, 19-9 to 3-3. Apollo Bay, 30 goals 8 to beat the Western Eagles 9-9. If you don't mind, that is a massive win, and it was well played by Lawson. He booted 11, but wait for this. It was Zaparenkov who also booted 11. The two of them, unbelievable on the day, up forward. Lawson and Zaparenkov, 11 goals apiece. And wait for this, neither of them in the best players. Who picks the best players? Come on. And then they had South Colac 17-12 to Simpson 8-10. Bad luck there for Simpson, but South look like the top side right now. Leishman, a couple of goals for Simpson, kicked 3 actually. Drayton and Barry were their better players, and it was Lynch and Cox 5 and 4 apiece for South, and Black and Perkins were the better players there. While in other matches, Lawn 21-20 thrashed Colac Imperials 3-7, and after impressive start to the year by Imperials, they've dropped into a really big hole. And a drawn game between Illawarra and Birregurra, 10-8-68 Birregurra, Illawarra 9-14-68. It was even Stevens. It was a close one all day really. After half-time, Birregurra led the game, but coming back with a wet sail in the second half for Illawarra, and with Murray's 3 goals and being a good player, Flanagan and Grist also added late in the game, and Flanagan, Theodore and McRae did the job in the middle, and Illawarra even the score at the final buzzer. Allen and Paddock a couple each for Birregurra, and Salajan and Hayward were their two better players on the day. The premiership table for the seniors competition in the Colac and District shows South on top, 4 from 4. Then Alvey 3 from their 4 games, and they are second, so 16 points to South, 12 points to Alvey. Lorne are 3 from 4, they're on 12 points. Birregurra and Illawarra both up to 10. That means that they're 2 wins and 1 draw, and so they're going pretty well. And then after that, Apollo Bay on 8 points, the 2 wins, along with Colac 8 points. Simpson 4, struggling away. They've only played the 3 games, Simpson, and then Western Eagles and Otway haven't yet won a game. I wonder when those two play each other next. It might be that could be the game to get to watch, to see just who might be able to get themselves in front and get themselves off the bottom of that ladder.
And the Flow Man will have more thoughts on that tomorrow on the Flow Sports Show, covering leagues in Victoria, New South Wales, and of course in South Australia. Listen out for it, the Flow Sports Show with the Flow Man and the Stat Man from 4 till 7 tomorrow afternoon. We've got the Stat Man. He's coming up shortly, looking at his AFL tips. Be warned, I guess.